Thanks, Jody. Good morning, everyone. A pair of hikers have spent a cold and dangerous night on Mount Seymour. The pair got lost off a trail as darkness fell last night. They stopped and called a friend who contacted the RCMP. The hikers were found soaking wet by North Shore Search and Rescue this morning on terrain that crews are calling heinous. At this hour, the hikers are being walked out slowly from the bush by search and rescue crews. A dangerous offender hearing is set to begin today for the man who pleaded guilty to kidnapping a young boy from his home in the BC community of Sparwood. The Crown wants Randall Hopley declared either a dangerous offender or a long-term offender. That would stiffen the 47-year-old sentence and parole conditions. Hopley pleaded guilty to kidnapping a 3-year-old boy from his home in Sparwood 2 years ago. He held the child in a cabin before returning him unharmed 4 days later. Hopley is a convicted sex offender and claims he wanted to abduct the boy to get back at the justice system. A trial is set to begin in Prince George for the man accused of killing 4 young women, including a 15-year-old. A hearing will first determine what evidence can be submitted against Cody Lejabakov. He's charged with first-degree murder in the deaths. The alleged victims disappeared between 2009 and 2010, and one of the bodies has never been found. More than 300 people turned out to walk, run, and roll in memory of slain teenager Laura Zendry less than 2 weeks before her killer is sentenced. Her family is pleased with the ongoing support from the community in raising money for student scholarships, but they're upset it has taken so long to sentence the teen who pleaded guilty to her murder. The teen, who was 17 at the time of the offense, killed Zendry after he tried to sexually assault her 3 years ago. The Crown wants him sentenced as an adult, but defense wants him sentenced as a youth. A decision is expected October 18th.
Whatever happened, let it happen, but let's get it over with. That is the only thing I got no, I'm very sorry whatever happened because he ruined his family too. So, it just, like I say, things like that happen, but it takes too long, and it's torture.
A woman has been arrested for a crash in downtown Vancouver that sent a 9-year-old boy to hospital with very serious injuries. The 27-year-old woman was allegedly driving a car that collided with this SUV at Davie and Pacific at around 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The SUV hit 2 9-year-old boys riding their bikes. One of them escaped injury. The other was pinned underneath the vehicle. More than a dozen Good Samaritans lifted the vehicle off the boy, who was left with bruises and possibly broken bones. The driver of the car allegedly took off, but she was tracked down at her home after witnesses got her license plate number. Vancouver aquarium staff say they are alarmed at a mystery epidemic that's killing off a beloved species in Howe Sound. Large numbers of sea stars, commonly known as starfish, have all but disappeared from Howe Sound. Aquarium staff are having trouble gathering information about the epidemic because sea stars that looked healthy in the ocean are disintegrating into goo by the time they reach the lab. Scientists are still trying to get data from other areas. They say overpopulation is a possible cause of the problem. The partial shutdown of the U.S. government is entering its second week with no end in sight. With no resolution, the United States is moving closer to the possibility of the first ever debt default in the nation's history. The Treasury Secretary says U.S. President Barack Obama isn't backing down on his call for a debt limit bill without conditions before the October 17th deadline. But House Speaker John Boehner has ruled out House votes on a temporary spending bill or a measure to raise the nation's borrowing authority without concessions from the president.
We are not going to pass a clean debt limit increase.
Under no
I told the
circumstances?
president, there's no way we're going to pass when the votes are not in the House to pass a clean debt limit. And the president is risking default by not having a conversation with us.
Southeastern China is being hit hard by a typhoon this morning, bringing powerful winds and heavy rains. 2 people have died so far. Power has been cut and flights and trains have been canceled. Typhoon Fido struck up with winds of up to 150 kilometers an hour, then slowed before weakening to a tropical storm. More than 500,000 people have been evacuated from the area. That's your news to 6:35. A busy Sunday in the world of sports, and for more on that, here's Jody.